everyone, welcome back to another episode of Stocks All Day with Dr. O'Day. Today what we're going to be talking about is the MACD stock signal indicator. And this is one that I use in my trading strategy. As always though, make sure that you do your own research and know that I am not responsible for any of the choices that you make in your own trading. Investing is a risky game, and this is just how I use the MACD indicator. This is just meant to show you kind of my $1,000 journey. So with that, I'm excited to share with you exactly what the MACD is and then how I use it in my trading. So to get the MACD, all you have to do here, and let me actually just kind of exit out of this here. So what we're looking at initially is just the price of the stock. I'm going to go ahead and also remove the RSI, and I'll also kind of hide my other stuff that I've got going on. So when you first get on TradingView, and again, that's the software that I use and that I suggest, you can come up here to indicators. And here you can just type in MACD, MACD, and there's going to be some built-ins that you can use. Other people have coded various strategies, and you're welcome to use whatever ones work for you. Now, when you first get started, you're probably just going to want to use one of the built-ins. So I just click MACD, and then I can hit escape, and it puts this nice graph underneath the graph of the price. So I'm going to go ahead and double click here just to zoom in, and we can see what the heck's going on with the MACD. So the default settings for the MACD are what I've seen to be the most popularly used, and this is what I use. So by default, what it does is it takes the 12-day exponential moving average minus the 26-day exponential moving average. And that's going to give you a value semi-close to zero. And so what happens is if that value is going negative, typically the stock is going to be decreasing in price. As that kind of subtracted value starts to go positive and gets to be above zero, the stock's going to be increasing in price. It's going to be an uptrend. So that's the blue line that we're seeing here, is that 26-day EMA minus the 12-day EMA. Now you'll see that there's also an orange line here. And what that is actually the 9-day exponential moving average of the MACD. So it's actually saying, okay, the exponential moving average of that subtracted value. And so what this is going to do is, as the stock goes more and more as the price of the stock, as the strength of the trend is going more and more negative, then that MACD line is going to be beneath that orange signal line, and then eventually when we start to see a reversal in the strength of the trend, it's going to eventually slow, and then the blue line crosses the orange line. Now, that typically people perceive that to be a buy indicator when the blue line crosses above the orange line. Then when it crosses back below, people perceive that to be a sell indicator, crosses back above, a buy indicator, below sell indicator, above buy indicator, so on and so forth. Now there's a lot of indicators happening, or a lot of indications happening here, and if you try to buy and sell at all of these, you could look at this on the 4-day chart, you could look at it on the 1-hour chart, the 5-minute chart. I typically use the 1-day chart here. And you're going to drive yourself silly, and there's going to be a lot of false kind of indications here. So for me, and I know what a lot of people do, they take trades when there's a crossover below the zero line. So we see over here there's a zero line right here, and so I only take trades when the crossover happens below zero. So right here, that would not be a signal for me. Now most of these other ones, these other three, would be a potential buy signal for me. So that's typically how the MACD is used. Now, I also pair this with some other things before I actually decide to buy into this stock. So for me, I'm going to double click here and go back and show the price of the stock. What I'm also going to do is I'm going to unhide kind of my strategy. Actually here, I'll add in one more indicator. I'm going to add in an exponential moving average exponential. and I'm going to exit out of that. By default, it gives me a 9-day exponential moving average. I'm going to change that to a 200-day exponential moving average. So that 200-day, that's a long period of time, right? But it's also weighting by the more recent days. That's what exponential is. Whereas if it was just a 200-day moving average, it's not going to weight that thing by the most recent days. So it's going to also take into account the current trends or the more current trends. Again, a 200-day exponential moving average, that's a long period of time. So I only trade and I only take a MACD signal if the current price of the stock is entirely above the 200-day exponential moving average. Because what that indicates to me is that by being above the 200-day exponential moving average, we're in an uptrend. And I like uptrends. I'm a swing trader. I like it when things are trending upward. So typically when things are trending upward, more often than not, they're going to continue to trend upward, whereas if things are trending downward, they're going to more often than not continue to trend downward. Now, obviously, things change, we're never 100% certain on what's going to happen. So if I'm looking here, this would be a buy indicator for me because there's a crossover below zero and the price of the stock is currently above the 200-day exponential moving average. This would not be a buy signal to me because it's above the zero line of the MACD. Over here, this would not be a buy indicator to me because we're kind of petering around that 200-day exponential moving average. I would actually wait for a candle to kind of clear above the 200-day exponential moving average and like to start and finish above the 200-day EMA before I would get into that. Now, again, it's not a perfect strategy. By doing that, I would have actually missed a good uptrend there. And then also right here, this would be a buy indicator because again, we are above the 200-day exponential moving average and we have the MACD crossover below that zero line that you can see right there. So this is how I use the MACD signal indicator, and this is one of the most popular signals out there. A lot of people use this. Not everyone uses it exactly how I do. And I do some other stuff with the MACD indicators as well. Now I'm going to actually show you not just this MACD, so I'm going to actually get rid of this one. I'm going to get rid of this EMA. So what I've done is I've actually used Pine Script Editor. So you can see this Pine Editor down here. And I'm not going to show you my script. The reason that I'm not going to show it is because I've actually used script from other people. They have kind of copyright on that, so I'm not able to share. I'm able to use it, and I'm able to modify it for my own uses and things, but I'm not able to share that. So I'm not going to show you my own Pine script, but you should actually look at other people's Pine scripts and learn how to code for yourself, because you're actually doing coding right here when you go forward and do that. And again, other people have published a lot of this. If you search MACD, you can actually see that so Chris Moody here, if we click on that, we could add Chris Moody's thing here, and if you click on this kind of script, a lot of times people are actually going to show you the script that they use. And again, I can't show you kind of my own because it's a combination of theirs and mine. So let me get rid of this, and I'm going to add in my MACD indicator here. So you'll see that actually I don't even have the MACD, showing at this point because I've coded it to tell me exactly what's happening. This red arrow, and just so that you can see here, MACD. Oh, I accidentally added 2. So what you can see here is that the red arrows that are pointing down up here at the top, what that's telling me is that we had a MACD crossover instigating a sell signal. So right here, sell signal. Right here, sell signal. Right here, sell signal. So anytime there's a red arrow pointing down, that's indicating that the MACD signal, the MACD line is crossed below the orange signal line, and that's a sell indicator. Now, I don't typically use that, it's just for information for me. Typically, I choose where I enter and exit trades based on other things. The purple arrow is one that I do use quite frequently. And what that is, and you can see right here, if we look down, so you focus right here. If we look down there, what we see is that the orange line crossed below the zero line right at that purple arrow. And what that typically is accompanied with quite soon is a blue line crossover indicating a buy, and it ensures that that happens below the zero line. And so these purple arrows are just kind of saying to me, oh, hey, something might be coming. And then I tend to watch that stock a little bit more carefully, where, so I can just kind of click through and I'm just looking for purple arrows, and then I watch that stock a little bit more carefully. The green arrows that are going up, that means that it has successfully, the MACD line has successfully crossed over that orange signal line, and so that's going to signal a buy as that green indicator. Now, I don't use that as my only buy indicator. Typically, I'm looking more for the green flag and the green arrow, which I'll explain that in future videos. It's based on some moving average crossovers and things like that as well. So that is how I typically set up the MACD and how I typically evaluate buy signals. Now, again, this is not my only buy signal, and I'm going to continue to go over that in the following videos. But I hope that this was helpful for you, and I hope that you learned something. Again, I am very excited to continue to share with you all of the different strategies that I'm using and kind of how I use all of these together. And you're going to see over the course of the next few videos how I bring these together to actually then tell me when I should buy a stock. So have a great rest of your day. Please let me know if you have any questions. And as always, please hit that like and subscribe to support the channel.